wars, with their inherently destructive nature, often yield elusive results. The Byzantine-Sassanid War of 602 to 628 serves as a glaring example, epitomizing the short-sightedness and unfaithful outcome of inherent and protected in conflicts. Throughout this extended struggle, neither empire significantly benefited, inadvertently paving the way for the essence of a new power, Islam, in the region. Since the calamitous Battle of Karya in 53 BC, Romans and Persians engaged in numerous conflicts until a delicate equilibrium materialized between them. Neither side managed to deliver a decisive blow to their long-standing adversary. The resurgence of hostilities unfolded in 571 when the Sassanid Arab allies, the Achaemenids, initiated an attack on the Ghassanids, the Arab allies of Byzantium. Subsequently, the Persians invaded Yemen, expelling Byzantine allies from the region. Attempting to foment revolts in modern-day Georgia and Armenia, the Romans succeeded in 572, gaining control of South Caucasus. However, the Syrian front proved challenging for Emperor Justin's forces, as Shah Khosrow's troops halted them near Nispis and seized the strategically vital Dara. The war escalated back and forth, despite the Persians wooing the Armenians back to their side. The conflict hit a standstill by 582, and the Byzantines scored a significant victory at Solachun in 586. The Sassanids retailed by capturing Mortipolis, prompting the Byzantine Empire counteroffensive victories at Caesarion and the river Araxes in 519, adding to the turmoil. A Persian general named Bahram, who had been dismissed by Shah Hormuz V, rebelled, intensifying the chaos. The Sassanid aristocracy attempted to quell the rebellion by overthrowing Hormuz and installing his son Khosrow on the throne. However, Bahram pressed on toward the capital, forcing Khosrow's escape and eventual ascent to power. In exchange for Byzantine assistance, Khosrow ceded the Martriopolis and Dara to Emperor Maurice, solidifying his rule. In an unpredicted turn, the great empires become allies, sparing the Byzantines from paying the tribute and allowing Maurice to address the brewing crisis in the Balkans. However, the prolonged conflict had taken a toll on the Byzantine Empire, depleting Constantinople's treasury in a desperate move. Emperor Maurice cut army pay, triggering mutinies. Phocas and a leader within the army seized the opportunity, declaring himself emperor, marching toward the capital. Maurice's inability to defend his throne resulted in his capture and subsequent execution. The governor of Mesopotamia, Narses, revolted against the new regime, seeking Khosrow II's assistance. Using Maurice's death as a pretext, the Sassanid Shah reconquered Armenia and Mesopotamia. Phocas's attempt to reclaim the lands in 605 ended in defeat, with the Persians regaining control of Dara. Phocas faced further challenges in 608, where the governor of Africa, Heraclius, revolted, joined by Syria and Palestine, seizing advantage of Byzantine infightings. The Sassanid conquered Mardin, Amida, Edessa, Theodosipolis, and launched raids in Bithynia. Heraclius gained control of Egypt in 610, making it the base of the invasion of Constantinople, eventually claiming the throne. Anticipating a cessation of hostilities due to the lack of casus belli, the new Byzantine ruler was blindsided as Khosrow has already occupied the Caucasus and Mesopotamia, envisioning an imminent victory and a restoration to the Achaemenid Empire. Despite the emperor's earnest endeavors, Khosrow succumbed to flames in 612, and the Sassanid forces responsible for its destruction managed to elude capture. Determined to turn the tide, Heraclius assumed command of the army, yet the empire continued to cede territories, with Damascus, Emesa, and Jerusalem falling to the enemy by 614. The loss of the holy city was particularly grievous, as the holy sepulchre was reduced to ashes, and the true cross, along with the other revered relics, was plundered. The Byzantine populace mourned the loss of these sacred artifacts, the conflagration and the eventual capture of these hallowed sites. Adding to the emperor's wars, recruitment efforts for new troops faltered, with the loss of the Jerusalem perceived as a manifestation of divine displeasure. In 615, the Sassanids besieged Chalcedon, a city mere kilometers from Constantinople. By 617, Chalcedon had fallen, raising the specter of Heraclius aligning as a vassal under Khosrow. Though the exact sequence of events remained elusive, historical accounts posit that a few months later, the Sasanians' force initiated an invasion of Egypt, and by 621, this province found itself incorporated into the Sasanians' realm for the first time. The conflict in Anatolia persisted, and by 622, the central portion of Peninsula had changed hands. With Ankara succumbing to the Persians, even the typical advantageous naval situation for the Byzantines took a dismal turn, as Rhodes and several Aegean islands succumbed in 622. Despite these substantial setbacks, Heraclius orchestrated a counteroffensive in 622 with a freshly assembled Byzantine army. Advancing into Cappadocia, he posed a threat to Sassanid armies' supply lines in Galatia, prompting a retreat to block the passage into Persia. The historical record provides scant information on the ensuing battle, but Heraclius emerged victorious as his troops uncovered a Persian ambush, feigned a retreat, and stuck at the enemy in a predetermined location. With the Sassanids ousted from Anatolia, a new threat emerged in the form of Avar incursions into the Balkans, compelling the emperor's return to Constantinople. Despite suing for peace, Heraclius fell victim to an Avar Khagan ambush, forcing a hasty retreat to his capital. Eventually, a resolution was reached, with the Avars accepting hostages in a substantial sum, enabling the Byzantines to refocus on the Persian front. In 624, Heraclius extended another peace offer to Khosrow, met with rejection, prompting the emperor to launch a renewed offensive. A formidable 30,000-strong Byzantine forces first reclaimed Caesarea and then traversed modern-day Armenia and Azerbaijan to strike at the heart of Persia. Meeting Khosrow's 40,000-strong army near Kazaka, the specifics of battles are shrouded in liminal historical accounts, but victory tilted in favor of the Byzantines. In a quest for retribution for Jerusalem, Heraclius razed the renewed Zoroastrian shrine invented in the region, unwelcoming of the Byzantines encamped on his territory. Khosrow dispatched 3 smaller forces to cut off any potential retreat for Heraclius, ensuing them between the mountains in Persia. The wily emperor outmaneuvered each Sassanid army, defeating 2, while the remaining Persian forces coalesced into a unified army. Crossing the Araxes River in early 625, the Persians attempted to ambush Heraclius in Alevit, but the emperor defied the ploy, launching an attack that scattered his adversaries. Spending the winter north of Lake Van, the Byzantines secured the pivotal fortresses of Amida and Martyriopolis in the ensuing spring. In the early summer, Heraclius achieved another victory near the river Sarus. However, his forces, fatigued from continuous engagements, sought respite the wintered in Trebizond. Khosrow found himself on the losing end of the war. Consequently, in 626, he mustered 2 additional armies, one for the defense of Persia and another poised to strike at Constantinople. The latter force, numbering 50,000 men, advanced directly through Constantinople without confronting Heraclius in Anatolia. Concurrently, the Sassanians secured an alliance with the Avars, whose newfound alliance pillaged an assault on Constantinople. The joint forces of Persia and Avars launched their offensive on the 29th of June. Heraclius dispatched a segment of his army to assail the Sassanid forces from the rear, achieving a decisive triumph in August. Alarmed, the Avars retreat into the Balkans, ensuring the safety of the Byzantine capital. Additionally, Heraclius successfully turned Shah Baraz, the general of the Second Sassanid army, against the Shah. Conversely, the emperor forged an alliance with the Turk of the Western Khaganate, launching an attack on Sassanid territory with 40,000 troops in the same year. Heraclius surprised the Sassanids by penetrating their heartland during the winter of 627. The last army loyal to the Shah attempted to impede Heraclius near Nineveh, with historical sources providing scant details on this confrontation. Nonetheless, the Byzantine forces, outnumbering the Sassanids 2 or 3 to 1, reportedly saw Heraclius personally engaging the overcoming 3 Persian warriors in combat. On that day, the Byzantines claimed the line of 6,000 enemies. Khosrow's fortune took a dire turn as rebellion unseated him, elevating his son, Shah Baraz II, to power. Seeking peace in 628, a new Shah acquiesced, and Heraclius, mindful of his empire's exhaustion, greedily agreed. All original territories were restored to Byzantines, accompanied by the release of all prisoners of war. The Sassanids committed to a war indefinitely and eventually returned all the relics seized in Jerusalem. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, this war brought no new territories or wealth to its participant. Instead, it left devastation in its wake. In 629, the Muslim Caliphate commenced its encroachment on both empires. In a mere 25 years, the Caliphate dismantled the Sassanid Empire and confined the Eastern Roman Empire to Anatolia. Thank you for viewing our documentary on the Byzantine-Sassanid War of 602 and 628. We hope you found it engaging and encourage you to express your support through likes, subscribes, and shares.